The UFC is headed back to Canada. They are taking 14 fights with them, and we have every opportunity in the world to make some money while watching those fights. One of those opportunities is through Underdog Fantasy. If you don't know what this is, it's daily fantasy. You come in here, you say higher or lower than any of the numbers you see on the screen, you string a few of them together, and you make a whole bunch of money. They will even give you free money to play. The only thing you need to do is go to wewantpicks.com/underdog, use promo code WWP, and you'll get access to all the free money, all the bonuses, and all the incentives to get you on this platform. And that's what they want to do. They want to give you some free money to go play with, because they know once you play, once you make a couple of bucks, once you have that extra element of fun and excitement while watching your favorite sport, you'll come back. Get the free money, get the bonuses. wewantpicks.com/underdog, promo code WWP. I am going to focus very squarely on UFC, specifically UFC Edmonton. But if you see across the top here, we have all sports. Baseball's done. Yankees blew it. But NBA is kicking off. NFL halfway through the season or somewhere abouts there. And we still have a whole bunch of other sports to use while playing Underdog Fantasy. You can string together different sports. You can do whatever you want. It's wildly flexible. But let's go ahead and focus on Underdog Fantasy. I do have a 5-entry lineup I'm about to give you, and it is going to start with Brandon Moreno. I think this fight goes the distance. I think Amir Albazi wins. If you want a full breakdown of that, there's a million videos on this channel breaking down every fight, who we think wins and why. But regardless of what side I'm on, this fight's going the distance. Brandon Moreno is insanely tough. Insanely tough. He has been through multiple wars, and he's coming out the other side with a decision. Amir Albazi, same thing. Very tough. And yes, he can be dangerous. He does have some power. But Brandon Moreno will eat the power. He'll wear it. He'll be a bloody, disgusting mess. But he'll eat the power. He'll still be in that fight. This goes to a decision. That's also why the payout's a little reduced there. But we're going to add it to our lineup. We'll string a bunch of these together. If I keep working my way down, I don't love anything on the Amir Albazi side. They're basically saying he's either going to land a ton of strikes or you got to pick finishes. So I'm going to leave this alone. For all we know, he comes out with a wildly heavy wrestling game plan. I don't know enough to throw something in there, so we're going to leave that alone. He hasn't been here for a year, so I'm positive it's going to go to a decision, but not necessarily positive exactly the ins and outs of the fight itself. Aaron Blanchfield. There are some interesting opportunities here. The cool thing about Underdog Fantasy is if you do the flex play, you can see here in the bottom right-hand corner it says flex. Make 3 or more picks and win even if you lose. And essentially, you'll see once we fill this out, what that's saying is if we put a bunch of picks together, you could have a flexible payout. So if we put 5, well, if you win 4 and you miss 1, you can still get paid. If you win all 5, you also get paid. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because if you think Aaron Blanchfield submits Rose Namajunas, then you can go ahead and add her higher than a half a submission, and they have it juiced. You will 2.48 times your entire payout by adding this. I'm not going to add it. I think Rose wins a decision, but this is a very real possibility. I'm surprised it's juiced. So you can add it, miss that leg, and then still make some money. I'm going to ignore it because I don't necessarily think that's what's going to happen. I am going to add the Rose higher than 86.5 significant strikes. What I will say, if you go through her fight history, it's tricky because she is right at this line. She has a couple of fights, like against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, where she blows past this number, but she's like right at this line for the most part, 85, 83. She's right there. But if I'm looking at this matchup, and I'm looking at previous matchups where she got past that number, for example, she got past that number in her last fight with Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez had a couple of takedowns. Rose had a few of her own. I don't know if she's going to get any of her own in this fight. If we go back to her fight before that, to Amanda Ribas, she had 93 strikes. Amanda had 4 takedowns, and Rose still got to 93. So she's right at the line. It's a tight line, but I think we're going to get over it. I think this is going to look similar to the Amanda Ribas fight. I think Blanchfield will get 1 or 2 takedowns throughout the fight, but for the most part, it's going to be Rose keeping distance, staying busy, making her hands do something. And we know Blanchfield's insanely tough, so she'll just take those shots and keep coming forward. Let's continue to work our way down. Derek Lewis, nothing I love here. I want to do the lower on a finish because I don't think he wins the fight. But it's still Derek Lewis. He still has the one-punch knockout power. He is still the all-time knockout king. I just can't touch it. We got to leave that alone. Janata Diniz, same story, just the other side. He's fighting the all-time knockout king who can be knocked out. Janata Diniz could absolutely win by finish. They'll give you even money on it because he's supposed to win by finish. But we're going to leave that alone. If we take a look at Britson Ribeiro, I don't think he wins this fight. Therefore, we're going to do the lower than a half a finish. I think Caio Machado will survive early. There'll be some nonsense early. Britson is a crazy kind of guy. He'll come out hot and then he'll fade. So I think Caio Machado will avoid the chaos early, slow the pace, and grind his way to a win. And I don't think Britson Ribeiro or Brenson Ribeiro will win by finish. If he wins a decision, great. This still hits. And if he gets finished, great. This still hits. So we're going to do the lower than half a finish on him. Let's continue to work our way down. I don't love the Stoltzfus or Marc-Andre Barreau fight. Marc-Andre can be finished. He has been recently. Dustin Stoltzfus also gets finished. This could also just be a staring contest. I don't love anything about that. Mike Malott, I was very tempted to do the higher on his takedown line, but Trevin Giles is wildly athletic, has very good takedown defense. So we're going to leave that alone as well. The higher on the takedown line that I do like is Jasmine Jasudavicius. The line is 2.5. This is a 3-round fight. I genuinely think she gets at least 1 takedown per round. Ariana Lipski's takedown defense is hit or miss. It was looking real good for a while there. And then in her last fight, she gave up a couple of takedowns, 3. And that's what lost her that fight. And I think this looks the same. Jasmine Jasudavicius is a high-level wrestler. She wins fights with wrestling. Yeah, it's possible she comes out here and just strikes nonstop. We don't control the fighters' game plans, but all we can do is look at what they historically do, how they historically have done in similar matchups, and everything tells us Jasmine's going to come in here and wrestle at least 1 takedown per round. So the higher than 2.5 takedowns should be good. Where is Jack Shore? Here he is. Here's our buddy. 1.5 takedown line, we're doing lower. I don't think he's taking down Youssef Zalal. I think Youssef Zalal is the one that's going to be dictating the takedowns. And the only reason I'm not doing higher or lower than the Youssef Zalal 1.5 takedown line is he has been an absolute savage beast lately, and he's really only needed 1 takedown. And then he's instantly on people's backs making stuff happen. Jack Shore, I do not believe, is going to be able to close the distance and take down Youssef Zalal multiple times, which is what would need to happen for this 1.5 takedown line to hit. So we're doing the lower than 1.5 takedowns on Jack Shore, and that will round out our entry. You're basically 5 timesing your money. Let's go ahead and take a look. I already have this built. We got Rose Namajunas. This is essentially for 5 times the money, $20 to win 96. So let's just say 5 times. Rose Namajunas, we're doing higher than 86.5 significant strikes. Brandon Moreno, higher than 24.99 fight minutes. Basically, it has to go to a decision. Jasmine Jasudavicius, higher than her 2.5 takedowns. Jack Shore, lower than his 1.5 takedowns. And then Brenson Ribeiro, lower than half a finish. This is my entry. This doesn't have to be your entry. If you love it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. The most important thing here, though, is get your free money. Get the bonuses. Take advantage of the opportunity in front of you. WeWantPicks.com/underdog. Promo code WWP. Good luck this weekend. This is going to be a weird card.